Hey, welcome into the Stinkin Truth Podcast. Mark Schlereth alongside Mike Evans. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for listening and watching. We appreciate you guys. Just blowing up right now, which is really cool to see kind of the growth because we've been grinding at this for a while. So to see the growth is really, it was really cool to watch, and we just thank you for that, guys. So make sure you subscribe and continue to support us because we appreciate it. Mike, how are you, buddy?
Got my handy dandy notebook.
Good.
All kinds of notes written down that I want to tackle with you.
Yeah.
That we're in the midst of pro day season.
Woo.
All the quarterbacks out there looking
Yeah.
so good in their shorts and T-shirts.
Absolutely.
Throwing the football over a mountain, all that kind of stuff. But you have done a lot of research. You have looked at the game film of these college quarterbacks. And I'd like to start, if we could, with Jaden Daniels, because he's the one that had his most recent workout as we're sitting here talking.
Yeah.
And what do you see with this guy? The numbers are eye-popping. His last year at LSU.
Right.
Threw for 3,800 yards, 40 touchdowns, ran for almost 1,100 yards, another 10 touchdowns. I mean, this guy was as dynamic is, and wins the Heisman for it.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, and you understand, like, completion percentage from the college game is always something that I take with a grain of salt. Several years ago, I really like, and, you know, we've been doing the radio show together forever, I really like Josh Allen. And everybody said, well, his completion percentage is so bad. Like, how can you? And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Well, he's one of the only quarterbacks that actually plays in a pro-style system. And then just from a pure talent standpoint, okay, like, how much talent do you have in Wyoming to throw to? How many guys want to go up into that wind tunnel in Laramie, Wyoming? If you've never been to Laramie, Wyoming, that place is, I mean, it's windy, it's cold, so it's not like you're getting a lot of guys going, yeah, you know where I think I'd like to go? Wyoming. So you're playing a pro-style offense in the wind, in nasty conditions, with guys who are probably less talented than a lot of other guys that are playing, you know, in college football at that particular point in time. So I really liked. I took that metric, that completion percentage, and I threw it out the window. And the opposite was true with Baker Mayfield. I was like, I should hope he could complete 70% of his passes. He throws 14 bubble screens a game. Like, I think, you know, you're going to – so, like, some of these numbers that come out of college are – they just don't tell the truth. They just lie to you, you know? And if that's all you look at is numbers, I mean, I can throw 6 bubble screens over here and a couple of the quick game over here and there. And, you know, and then if I just complete 50% of my other throws, you know, I'm going to complete 72% of my passes. So it's a little bit skewed. But here's what I would say about Daniels, because I think if you look at all the quarterbacks from a transitional standpoint, he has got a skill set in which you can create an offense that would transition well to the National Football League. And what I mean by that is all the RPO game and all the read zone game, because he's a dynamic runner. So he has got that ability to run, to set up that RPO game. And the thing about the RPO game, so this is going to be interesting. When you go back to, what was it, 2012, when the first pick in the draft was Andrew Luck and the second pick in the draft was RG3. And RG3 is the one who won the Rookie of the Year that year. And so, you know, Mike Shanahan was his coach at that time, and Mike Shanahan and I are good friends. And I mean, I've studied a lot of the tape. I've looked at a lot of the tape, and I've been in Mike Shanahan's study watching that tape. And one of the things they did, Kyle Shanahan being the offensive coordinator at the time, one of the things they did, they went to the college game and saw what they did at Baylor and saw what some other schools did and took that and put it into their offense. Now, this can blow you away. I was told that of the 2,900 yards that RG3 had in his rookie season, okay, it was 2,900 yards, I believe, in his rookie season as the Rookie of the Year, 1,300 of those completions, 1,300 yards of those completions came off one play. And it was essentially X drift. So here's X drift, okay? You got X receiver on a single side. You fake a handoff, right? You watch that linebacker. When he sucks up, you pull it, and you throw that 10-yard. It starts at about 10 and curls to 12, and it's just an in-cutting route. Whoop. There it goes, right? And that's and they I think they couple that with a post on the backside of it. So you're throwing to that. If the safety drives hard on it, then you can throw the post on the backside. So you got to, but you're really essentially looking at just that X drift. And that was 1,300 yards, and I'm probably oversimplifying that, and I don't mean to, but that, that was what was going on. So I say that to say, can you have some success with a guy that probably didn't play in a pure progression system like a lot of the systems are in the National Football League, because you can make that work. So that part makes the most sense to me. Now, I don't know what he's going to become as a progression drop back passer.
Right.
I don't know. Nobody does.
That initial success you're talking about can be fleeting because, sure, Jaden Daniels might be the most ready to come in and be able to at least, give your offense a chance.
Right.
But ultimately, he has to be able to learn to play quarterback, right, from the pocket.
Correct.
Because Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, you're kind of describing Jaden Daniels, and those are two quarterbacks that are still struggling to really prove that they can dominate from the pocket. And unless you can dominate from the pocket, all that other stuff really doesn't end up mattering that much, does it?
Then it becomes, what's the long-term sustainability of running that offense?
Correct.
And the long-term sustainability, what we found out, and we found this out with the value of Justin Fields. I believe the Chicago Bears thought they were going to get a first-rounder for Justin Fields. Then maybe a second-rounder at the worst. What they get, a sixth-rounder that can become a conditional fourth-rounder if the guy plays 51+% of his pass, or 51+% of his plays in Pittsburgh. So the bottom line is, you see what the overall value. This is what blows me away about the draft, Mike. It absolutely befuddles me, right? Like, we get so enamored. Oh, it's draft season. Oh, my gosh. We're, all these pro days. Oh, my God. Like, you see that guy running in shorts with no shirt on? Oh, Malik Neighbors. He's got so many muscles, and he ran a 4.35, and then he had a 42-inch vertical jump, and it's the greatest thing ever, right?
Yeah.
And you see it all the time. And let's look at the value of the draft 2 years later. A sixth-rounder. For a guy who was a first-rounder that a lot of people argued the Bears should just bypass the first overall pick, take a great football player, and just stick with Justin Fields. You know how many times I heard that? How many people I heard say, hey, Justin Fields should be their guy. They should build around Justin Fields. You got a sixth-rounder for him. Like, if we don't overvalue the draft, that's why I love Les Snead and the Rams. F them picks, right? I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
I would much rather. And I grew up in an organization with the Washington Redskins at the time. Bobby Beathard drafted me, Joe Gibbs, and their philosophy was, I will trade an unknown commodity for a known commodity any day of the week. If I know the guy can play and he's in his third or fourth year, right? So he still has a window of 6-7 years to be super productive. I will take that guy over a first rounder that I really don't know if he's going to play or not, or play well or not.
Well, what you got to credit, or I guess blame in this case, you got to blame ESPN, because they were the ones desperate for programming, took on the NFL draft and televised it, and it grew into becoming a big deal. And all these draft experts, the Mel Kipers of the world, it became a cottage industry of people who were able to use the draft, predicting the draft, analyzing the draft, giving grades and all that, as a real industry that's become huge. So in many respects, in my opinion, the draft is artificially pumped up, because at its core, it's still a crapshoot.
Right.
But we present it and we talk about it like it's a certainty. We talk about it in absolutes. This guy's going to do this. This guy's going to do that. When most of these guys are going to be a flop.
Yeah, come on. I mean, 2018 draft, there's one guy that really has become. So you got to think of Lamar Jackson, as great as Lamar's been, 2 MVPs and everything else. Like, the Baltimore Ravens traded back into the first round to get him at 32. So
he does not fit in that rush to go draft a quarterback that we're talking about.
Right. He does not fit into that. He's more of the the end of the first, what I would consider, you call it all the time, the khaki pants quarterbacks, second, third rounders that just all of a sudden blossom. But you look at that draft, I mean, Josh Rosen was the guy that they talked about most NFL ready, and Baker Mayfield's on his fourth team now, and Sam Darnold's on his fourth team now, and so on and on it goes. The class of 2021 has just been an abject disaster. So I would tell you that, when it comes to that, the value, you're still going to have about a 50% bust rate in the first round.
So what would be your message to those teams that are looking at picking right now in the top 4, or maybe trading up into the top 4?
Right. Yeah.
Because we're probably going to see quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, 4. So once again, we're what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We're going to see teams do it again. Fresh with the memory of what happened just a couple years ago with all those misses, they're going to do it again. So after looking at, assuming Caleb Williams goes 1, how would you rank the other 3? McCarthy, Daniels, Drake May.
Yeah. Well,
McCarthy going up, seems like May's going down.
Yeah, and I would tell you that May, for me, May, the inaccuracies in the intermediate range, throwing the football, like when you go deep, Mike, when you run a deep post or you throw a deep ball, you can be, if you got a big enough arm, you can be late. It doesn't affect it's not going to affect the accuracy of the throw. But when it's a timing situation, an intermediate route situation, when you've got loopy mechanics lead to being late. Being late leads to inaccuracy. So it's very much like a baseball pitcher, except you're not from a static position, so to speak, right? You're not trying to repeat those static mechanics all the time. You're moving, you're sliding, you're doing those things. But still, what being late does, it makes you rush. What rushing does means that your arm lags behind your body. So to get your arm through, this is pitching 101, you know what you have to do? You watch anybody who's constantly, not hitting the strike zone, this is where they are. Yank your head, whoop, arm gets long, whoop, I miss. Either I pull it and I'm down and in, or I let it slide and I'm up and out. And that's baseball. Like that's baseball. But the same principles are true with throwing mechanics. When you really are late, you really have to jerk. You really have to pull the ball through. Well, you're going to miss intermediate throws, and that's what I see with Drake May a lot in the film that I studied, just inaccuracy in those intermediate ranges where you got to eat. You got to make those plays. And I'm hard-pressed to think of anybody that has had long, loopy mechanics where they try to go in and fix that guy's mechanics after the draft where that guy has been successful. I mean, I remember these videos of David Carr when he got drafted by the Houston Texans. They had 2 ladders. I think Chris Palmer was the offensive coordinator at the time. They had the 2 ladders. They had this bar, and so he's like this 3/4 arm, whatever, and he was throwing it over the top. And I'm like, what do you think's going to happen when you're under duress in a game and you got to make a throw? You think all of a sudden you're like, I got to be perfect mechanic and over here, or you're just, And so I just think some of that stuff is a bunch of garbage. So I think that's one of the reasons he's slipping. I've talked to you about McCarthy moving up because of, running an actual NFL style of offensive progression throws, and also, pre-snap huddling and, and also using, shifting and motions and different personnel groups. But I would tell you my theory on this is I would call it brass in the pocket theory.
Brass in the pocket theory?
Yeah, brass in the pocket. I'm special.
Oh, jeez.
So special. I got to have some of your attention. Give it to me. There's not one guy.
The Pretenders, right?
Yeah, the Pretenders.
Yeah, okay.
There's not one guy.
I got you.
Not one guy in this draft, to me, that's brass in the pocket, that's special enough to move from 12 or 13 or 11 up to 3 or 4. There ain't one guy. Not one. So if you dump 3 first rounders to move up there to get McCarthy, I would say that's a pipe dream. I would rather get a great football player because there are going to be a bunch that are pushed down in this draft. So I don't think there's any guy that brass in the pocket is special enough to say, I'm going to dump 3 first-rounders to go get that guy. I think you'll have another Trey Lance situation.
You're a beaut, man. You are a beaut. You're special. You're special. You are special.
Know what? Yes.
You are really, really special. All right. So just for the fans of the Commanders, the Patriots, the Bears, the Vikings, the Broncos, the Raiders, how would you rank the 4 quarterbacks? If it was up to you and you were ranking them 1 through 4, how would you rank them?
I would probably go of those guys. I would probably go just pure talent, Caleb Williams, and then I would go Jaden Daniels. Then I would go J.J. McCarthy. Then I would go Drake May. But every one of them, because every one of them has something unique to their skill set. Like Caleb Williams has just got an unbelievable. Like when everybody called generational talent, he has generational arm talent, athleticism, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, Jaden Daniels, to me, you can instantly transition this package and you can run your offense out of that package, and then you can build on it as the season goes on. J.J. McCarthy, because he does call an NFL game, he does have some progression throws. He has, changed strengths and shifted and motioned and done all those things to get in one formation out to another formation, understanding, which every guy is responsible for. And then Drake May, because he's tall. He's big and tall.
And he's got talent. He's got a big arm. He's tall. He's athletic. He's mobile. So he checks a lot of the boxes. You just think that some of the mechanic stuff might be tough to overcome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a quarterback who nobody rushed out to draft. In fact, he went in the 4th round. Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was a foregone conclusion that Dak Prescott was going to get a new deal with the Cowboys. And we were hearing numbers like he could be the first $60 million guy. But now it seems like those contract talks have cooled. And are we looking at the very real possibility of Dak Prescott being a free agent after next season?
I just don't believe that they're going to let him hit the free agent market. And I know Dak takes a lot of grief. A lot of people don't believe necessarily in Dak or the Cowboys. I happen to be on the other side of that fence. I think Dak Prescott's a hell of a quarterback. I think that guy has an old soul to him. I think he plays the game from the pocket exceptionally well. I think he throws the ball exceptionally well. I just think that that's more organizational structure-wise, the issue with the Cowboys, and less about Dak Prescott. Now, do I want to pay any quarterback $60 million a year? No, probably not. But do I think he's an upper echelon, Super Bowl championship caliber quarterback? Yes. We always talk on our show with Joel Klatt from Fox, the lead college football analyst.
Yep.
And he always says to me, or us, and I love this analogy, does the guy pass the confetti test? And what he means by that is, can you see him hoisting up a Lombardi trophy and confetti fall on this guy's head?
That's great, yeah.
Because it's a great exercise.
Yeah.
And I've asked a couple of NFL coaches about their quarterbacks. I've asked them in meetings.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And have they given you honest answers that the fans of those teams probably wouldn't like?
Yes. But the answer is not that they answer it. It's that they don't answer it.
Okay. You can see them start to squirm a little bit. Yeah.
Boy.
Look at the time.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never thought of it that way. And, you're like, okay, that's a no.
That's a
check,
no.
Right? So
this team doesn't believe.
Yeah, they don't believe. But, yeah, I've asked. But there's a great visual. And, like, as much as I don't believe in the organizational structure of the Cowboys, was it Dalton Schultz who went to Houston and said, dude, like, you walk out to practice and they've sold tickets to people to watch you. Yeah. Like there's no sanctuary for the players, right? Everything is
you're in the fishbowl.
Yeah, constantly. Yeah. And that'd be an exhausting way to practice and to play.
You've never been shy about being critical of the Cowboys and the way they're run.
Yeah.
So while conventional thinking would be, hey, Dak Prescott, whatever you may think about Dak, he's good enough that good luck being sure about how you go out and replace him.
Right.
But we're talking about the Cowboys here. So I think it's fair to ask, is Dak Prescott getting a new deal from the Cowboys contingent, based on the way you think the Cowboys run things, on him going to a Super Bowl? Super Bowl or else.
Yeah. Well,
otherwise the Cowboys move on.
No, I actually believe they'll get this done. I believe they're going to find a way between now and the start of the season to get this done. And they may have tabled it for a minute or two to just let it kind of simmer. But I believe this will be something that they go to work on and try to figure that out as that cap has increased, and a way to find, to find a deal that's a long-term deal that after 2 or 3 years there are some provisions to get out of it, so it doesn't hamstring you 7 years into the future. Right. But again, I think Dak Prescott, I think he's one of the upper echelon quarterbacks. And if you look at the NFC right now, I would argue, just off the top of my head, he's the best quarterback in the NFC. Maybe Kirk Cousins is right there.
Purdy,
but Purdy plays on a pretty stacked team. Not the Cowboys aren't good; they are.
Right.
They're really good. But I just would argue, like in the AFC, if you brought him to the AFC right now, where would he be ranked? He'd probably be behind Joe Burrow. He'd probably be behind Mahomes, obviously. He'd probably be behind Josh Allen.
Probably. Lamar, for what Lamar does in the regular season, I'd put him behind Lamar.
Right.
So,
but he would be
barely cracking the top 5.
Right, but he'd be there, and
yes.
that's a tough top 5 to crack.
Right.
But would you put him above Herbert?
Yes.
Yeah, as of right now, I think you would have to.
Would you put him ahead of Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh?
Not after I see the workout videos, man. That
shades,
guy loves the grind. He loves the grind.
I'll tell you what, everybody run out and buy those shades for your next CrossFit workout.
Yeah, because there's nothing I like to do better than getting to that gym in a matching outfit, my lowers match my uppers, and I put them shades on so I can work out.
What are you doing,
Dude,
Russ?
Come on,
what are you
man.
doing?
You make it too easy on us.
I know.
We don't
necessarily look to do this, but if you're going to keep giving it to us.
Right.
If you're going to keep throwing us hanging curveballs, we got to hit them out of the park, right?
You know what I'm going to coin?
Chicks dig the long ball.
I'm going to coin a new phrase.
Yeah.
Toolbox going to toolbox.
Well, there's a little bit of toolbox
going to toolbox.
I know we're going to get to question mark here in a second, but here's my own question. You got to appreciate, don't you, just the sheer flex, we don't give a crap power of the NFL. After the NBA carefully over years cultivated the idea that Christmas Day was theirs, the NFL comes in and in just one fell swoop says, nope, we'll take that.
Yeah.
They had an overwhelming success with Christmas Day games last year, and even though Christmas falls on a Wednesday this year, nope, they're doing it again. 2 more games on Christmas Day. And what are you going to do about it?
There's nothing you're going to do. There's nothing you're going to do about it. This is the ultimate Globo Gym.
That's
We're
right.
better than you, and we know it. It is the ultimate flex.
Yes.
Wednesday, we'll figure it out, right? They'll come off a bye week. They'll play on Wednesday, or they won't play on Sunday. We'll push them to Wednesday, and then they'll play the following Thursday night game, or however they do. Because they're going to have 4 teams, so you can't play 4 games on Thursday, can you? I don't think so. I don't know how they're going to do it. They'll figure out a way to do it.
Well, taking care to think about what's best for the players, of course.
It's always about the players.
Always
about the players and player safety. That's why, that's why the hip drop tackle has been outlawed. Although nobody can tell you what a hip drop tackle is and isn't.
And I have no idea how guys are going to tackle anymore.
Dude, I saw all the videos that the NFL put together about what an illegal tackle is.
Yeah.
I was like,
they're tackles.
You gotta be shitting me.
Yeah.
Like I can't. Like, why is that illegal? Why is that one? Like they were. I don't know how they're going to call that.
How are you going to tackle somebody from behind? How? If I'm chasing after you and I got you in my, how am I going to tackle you?
Well, you just grab him in the back of the. Oh wait, that's a horse collar,
right?
So
I guess I'm going to have to
jump at their ankles. You got to do it.
Probably likely tackle you forward.
Right.
So I'm going to tackle you with the understanding that by tackling you, I'm going to give up 2 or 3 more yards.
The one that got me was, all these crossing routes. When a guy is driving, so you're running a crossing route, right? Like a shallow cross, and the DB is coming from high, and as you're starting up, you tackles you around the hips and falls. They showed that one about 4 times. That's illegal now. What? That's illegal? And by the way, you know who ruined this for everybody? Wide receivers.
You love picking on wide receivers.
You little diva biatches. Because every time there used to be pride. There used to be pride, and I'm going to be old school, shouting at clouds from my porch with black socks on. But there used to be a time when you got hit over the middle, you popped up regardless of how bad it hurt, and you just was like, you got nothing. And you jog back to the sideline, right? And then you flop down on the bench. You're like, right?
Snot's bubbling out of your nose. But you got hit so hard.
Before the hit even happens, you flail around and you're like, where's my flag? Or I'm knocked out. I'm unconscious. Like, you little acting biatches. Like, and now every tackle guys are, my hip. Oh, they're going to be.
What annoys you more as a sports fan? The football player who immediately starts doing this, throwing the flag.
Drives me crazy.
Or the NBA player who immediately starts doing this for the review.
The review.
Yes.
It's the football. I expect NBA players to be soft. I just expect it. But this thing, like, throw the flag. It drives me. They're looking at the ref like, give me the flag. Give me the flag. That hit was too hard. It drives me insane that we are, as a league, we're begging for flags, and this is just going to be that much more. How many times are we going to be in the midst of a really good game, and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs will throw a completion, and it's going to be tackled short of the first down, and the Chiefs are going to lose, and there's a flag. You can come out and go, that was a hip drop tackle, I'm sure of it. First down, Chiefs. Like that, and that's part of my Broncos hatred for the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to happen.
There are plenty of other fan bases who agree with you, my man.
It's going to happen, Mike Evans.
Let's get to some questions. This is a good one. This is from Desert Yeti. Should Caleb Williams be expecting a lot of razzing for the video going out with the pink fingernails and the pink phone case?
Yes. 100%. Ain't no question. He'll get a ton of razzing regardless, but he should. Like, you should get made fun of. That's part of the ritual of the locker room. I'm not talking about, maybe bullying a little bit, but I'm not talking about all that. But I mean,
there is some bullying,
right? But it's good, clean fun, right? And listen, the way that you endear yourself to the locker room community is being good at football. If you're good at football, you can wear your pink nails and have your lip shade on and you can do whatever you want. If you're good, that's why I always thought, a few years ago, it was always like, can the NFL survive a gay player in the locker room? And I was like, really? Can he play? Right? One, can he play? Because if he can play, yes. He's great. Yes. Two, like, everybody gets made fun of, right? Like, if you walk into the locker room, you got a big nose. You know what we're going to make fun of? Your big nose. That's just the way it works.
How did you say you would have had fun with Russell Wilson?
Oh, with the shades video?
Yeah.
I'd have gone and find, like, in every locker room, there's in every training room, there's like a long stick for, they do rehab, like a long broom handle, right? And you got to stand on a balance ball and hold the handle, and then the trainer holds it and tries to, and you got to, I'd have taken that, wrapped it in white tape, and walked in with glasses, and I tick, 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 like act like I was blind and hand it to Russ. Get your damn glasses off in the weight room, you big toolbox. Like, right? When you do that, so yeah. So no, Caleb Williams is going to get made fun of. Sure, he is. He should. And you know what? As long as he can play, more power to you, man.
And as long as he has fun with it himself.
Sure.
And isn't a defensive diva.
Right. You can't be. Yeah. You can't be. You got to just take your ribbon.
Yep.
And the best defense is a good offense.
That's right.
Be great and get on the offensive.
Exactly.
That's how it works.
Right. Next one for you from Chad Harder. Who do you think is the best non-quarterback in round one?
There's some receivers that are really good. There's some offensive linemen that are really good. But I think the second hardest from an understanding and the second hardest position from an understanding standpoint, what you're required to know and the things that you're required to do is the tight end position. You got to be an H or a F. You got to be a Y. You got to block people. You got to be able to spread out. You got to be able to be a route runner. You got to be able to break tackles. You got to be able to do all those things. And I think the Bowers kid from Georgia, was it Brock Bowers? Plus, if your name is Brock, you got to be pretty good, right? Brock
Osweiler.
Brock Lobster.
Brock Heward.
There you go.
All right, we got some Brocks.
All right, maybe that theory gets challenged a little bit.
I just brought up quarterbacks.
Yeah, let's put that. Let's come up with some. Okay, but
it's a great question because hey, congratulations to the Los Angeles Chargers. You have the first pick in the draft, right? I mean, go with me here. If you're somebody like yourself who believes in real football players,
not quarterbacks,
then if you look at the rush to take quarterbacks 1 through 4, then the Chargers saying at 5, in theory, have the number 1 pick in the football draft.
You're 100% right.
That's
it's a great call. And let's face it, that position, as hard as that position is, and as dynamic and as difference making as that position is, look at what that position has become over the years. And what Travis Kelce is doing at that position, a guy like Sam Laporta has done, a guy like Greg Kittle has done. I mean, look what Gronk did before that, Andrews.
Yeah.
So, that would, you have a chance to get a different making kind of tight end that can do multiple things for you.
Last question for you. Mark, this is from Ben Axelrod. Can you tell me what the inspiration was for your Man 101 videos?
Because I'm a man. And I like to get stuff done. There's an assault in our country on men, anyhow.
Uh-huh.
I like to work and get sweaty and be nasty and just be a dude.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, let's celebrate it.
Your Man 101 videos, basically, you'll do a project around your house or something.
Work,
and
some type of
videotape it, and there you go, Man 101.
That's right.
I like it.
You know what I've been doing a lot? In springtime, when it's nice out on my porch, plums out, sun's out, plums out. I'll just sun my testicles. Love it. Increases your testosterone by like 200%.
Okay, I'm sure there's a doctor out there watching. Will you please text into Mark or tweet into Mark and
you got to put your testicles
maybe
in the sun.
disavow him of the whole idea that sitting on his deck with his nuts out is going to increase his testosterone 200%.
Look at me. Results.
Yeah, fair point.
The results. They're like
good. Touche.
Yeah.
Touche.
Yeah. The results don't lie. Okay. My testosterone is through the roof.
Okay.
And my balls are tan.
The good news is, folks, the yarbles are hidden while we do this show. Because that would create quite the stir.
Yes, it would. Hey, for everybody involved in the Stinkin Truth podcast, we thank you so much for paying attention, for listening, subscribing. For Mike, I am Mark. We appreciate you. We'll be back with you guys next week. Hey, for everybody involved in the Stinky Truth, we thank you so much. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more content just like this. If you want to see more of our videos, you can also be sure to check out our playlist. Let us know exactly what you think in the comments below. We appreciate you guys so much for being a part of that.
Don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date on our latest updates. Links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.